One of the things that my motorcycle instructor said on the very first lesson was never get on a motorcycle when you've been drinking and never get on a motorcycle when you're in a bad mood. And unfortunately I learnt the hard way that don't get on a motorcycle in a bad mood. It was a day where nothing had kind of gone right. I wasn't even going very fast, but it was just a moment of not thinking, not paying attention to where I was. And before I knew it, the motorcycle was on top of me, and basically my leg was smashed from my knee down on my left leg, pretty much smashed to pieces. But then managed to put my leg back together. My name's Andrew Gregory. I'm 48 years old. I live and work in central London. My job is hairstylist. It's a job I absolutely love. I don't work in a salon. I kind of go around between people's homes or they come to me, and I'm also very lucky that some of my clients live overseas and I get to fly around the world. The other side of my life is pole dancing, which has become a total passion. I discovered pole about 5 years ago. Initially it was a way to keep fit, and gradually as I became better at it, it became a much bigger part of my life. I couldn't do traditional exercise. Moving around on my feet was painful and difficult. I thought that my leg would cause too much of a problem to try pole, even though I was fascinated to give it a go. Then one day a new teacher turned up at the studio who was teaching pole, and she had most of her arm missing. And I just suddenly thought, well, if she can do it with a missing arm, then I can definitely do it with a damaged leg. I gave it a go, and that was it. I was hooked immediately. The beauty with pole dancing was that once I was off the floor, I was kind of like in less pain. It was always difficult to pole with my leg the way it was. I had to wear shoes, which meant grip on the pole was difficult. If I took my shoes off, I had one leg that was longer than the other and the foot was pointing in the wrong direction. It was all very difficult. 17 years later, I was still having operations and still in a lot of pain, and it just was progressively getting worse. The injuries were deteriorating. More and more painkillers, different painkillers to try and cope with the pain, and walking with a walking stick I absolutely hated. So then I finally took the decision to do something about it. There was no more operations that could be done. And I decided to go ahead with amputation and amputate the lower left leg. As I was coming up towards my operation, I decided to start an Instagram profile. Instagram is very much about telling a story, and I felt like this was an interesting story. So going through the process of the amputation, what I do with pole and what I do for a living. Through Instagram, I've had the amazing contacts that I've had with different people around the world. There's not a huge amount of amputees around the world doing pole, but it's on the increase. I chat at the moment to a girl in Australia who actually has a above the knee amputee, and she's doing pole, and she initially didn't want to post photographs or videos of herself doing it because she felt the leg was ugly. She felt like people wouldn't want to see what she was doing. It took a few months, but then suddenly this new profile appeared and she's posting videos of herself, and suddenly she's realized actually she's not ugly. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. And this is, I think, one of the great things about social media. A lot of people come to pole not liking the way they look. It definitely helped me feel much more at ease with the way that I look. Immediately after the operation, I used crutches. I didn't want to recover in a wheelchair. And my mindset was very much that I wanted to get back to life as quickly as possible. Weirdly, I was back in the pole studios 11 days after the amputation and started training pretty much straight away. I knew about pole competitions before my amputation, and specifically I'd learnt about the World Parapole competitions, which are part of the World Championships. So it was about a year after my amputation that I first entered the IPSF Parapole competition, and I qualified. So I went off to Canada in October and took a gold medal, and also I was awarded Male Athlete of the Year, which is kind of awarded across parapole and regular pole competitions. It meant more to me receiving that than just getting the gold, because it was amongst all the competitors. I also set a world record score for a parapole competition, which is a bit of a problem now, because when I go back next year, obviously I'm going to have to work to beat that record again. I decided that I wanted to do something more artistic, and there's another worldwide competition called Pole Theatre. This is against able-bodied polers, so I was on the same playing field as everybody else. It was definitely scary, even entering the competition initially, getting through the video entry stage. You don't know if the judges are seeing you through the same eyes as other people, or are they seeing you as like a gimmick. I was judged in exactly the same way as everybody else, and that's what I hoped. I wanted to be seen as a good pole dancer, not a good pole dancer who's an amputee. I just wanted to be seen the same as everybody else, and that's why it was important for me to compete against able-bodied polers. I started to work on my routine with one of my teachers. We were sort of playing around with moves that I could put in there. My teacher said to me, "Oh, why don't you do a backflip off pole?" And I was like, well, I've got 1 foot. Why would I want to backflip off the pole and land on my 1 foot? But then I kind of realized, if I'm going to do this, then surprise people. But then the reality of training a backflip from 6 feet up in the air is quite daunting. And in fact, I found it incredibly scary to do it the first few times. It took a lot of encouragement. But the backflip at the end of the routine is definitely the bit that was the scariest for me. So scary to think that you might damage 1 foot when you only have 1 foot left. I get incredibly frustrated when I can't get a move. Sometimes I forget that, yeah, I'm an amputee and that something might not be possible, but my frustration is not always something I can hide either. I entered the drama category, and I decided to tell the story of waking up after my amputation and kind of moving through to when the end is where a doctor brings on my first prosthetic leg and I walk off stage. So it was something that was very personal to me. I definitely felt more pressure in the pole theatre competition. Not only was it against able-bodied polers, but it was also telling my story because it was so personal to me. If I hadn't done it well, it would have been really disappointing to myself. And also, I only had one chance to tell that story.
Advanced winner in the drama category.
I had sort of hidden at the back, and I was taller than everybody. And I definitely ducked down. In fact, you can't even see me when you look at a shot.
Go on, Andrew, go on, Andrew, go on, Andrew. It's Tattoo Pole Boy!
Called out my name, it was just, I wasn't quite sure I'd heard it right. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling, amazing. Pole is now recognised as an official sport. I would love for it to become an Olympic sport. It would change everybody's perception of it. They would see that the different disciplines are so different. It would make it a lot more acceptable. I think a lot more men would be drawn to it as well because they would see what it is you can actually do.